All right, detectives, listen up. Let's get right into this briefing. Today, we are stepping out of the traditional, comfortable classroom environment, and we are walking straight into the evidence room. You need to start thinking of the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic 9680, specifically Paper 2, not just as a test, but as a massive, high-stakes investigation. It's a meticulously constructed environment, an absolute crime scene, where thousands of candidates accidentally leave crucial marks just sitting on the table. And to help crack this structure and timing case today, we're going to use a completely different framework. We're looking at this through the lens of a detective. Now, on my squad, I see two very common rookie candidate profiles that keep messing up the investigation. First, we have Agent Alex. Alex is our procedural, by-the-book candidate. Alex will gather vast, towering mountains of physical facts from the Arabic source text, cataloging everything, but utterly fails to build a coherent analytical motive out of it. It's just a pile of data. On the exact opposite end of the spectrum, we have Agent Sam. Sam is our fast actor. Sam kicks down the door, rushes to conclusions, skips all the vital forensic confirmation checks, and completely ignores the examiner's actual command words. Neither of these approaches is going to hold up in court. So today, we are going to strip away those rookie errors piece by piece. We are going to lock down the perimeter, analyze the data correctly, and build an airtight, top-band response that examiners literally cannot deny.
Here is the exact roadmap for today's case file. We are starting with re-examining the forensic evidence, then moving into the peer interrogation debate, running a mid-case framework upgrade, opening up the viewer evidence room, and finally, getting to case closed. Let's move.
Act 1. Re-examining the forensic evidence.
Okay, let's pin this complex, high-tariff Cambridge past paper question right to the center of our evidence board. When we actually re-examine the academic benchmarks for Arabic 9680 Paper 2, you're going to notice a core dichotomy. This is the exact trap that trips up nearly every single mid-tier candidate out there: superficial breadth versus analytical depth. Listen to me carefully on this. This exam demands systematic analysis. It is absolutely not some casual reading comprehension exercise where you just locate an Arabic word in paragraph 3 and copy it down onto your answer sheet. That's what Agent Alex does. Our procedural candidate thinks that casting this wide, superficial net, literally just mentioning 12 different random things from the text, will somehow secure all the marks. But it doesn't. That is just descriptive statement making. Think of it like this. It's like a detective walking into a crime scene and just listing the furniture out loud. Hey boss, there's a chair. Oh, and look, a lamp. Wow, and a rug. Okay, great. You identify the objects, but it doesn't tell us what actually happened in that room. It doesn't tell us why the chair is knocked over. Top-tier marks, the ones that secure those A grades, demand analytical depth. The official Cambridge assessment framework explicitly prioritizes this over and over again. You have to establish causal relationships in your Arabic writing. Instead of just translating or summarizing and saying, the author mentions X and Y, you need to dig deeper. You need to explain, the author utilizes X as a foundational premise to ultimately justify the societal impact of Y. Do you see the difference there? One is just a simple, uninspired list. The other is a full forensic reconstruction of the author's intent. You're showing the examiner the invisible strings connecting the evidence.
Now, to do that, you have to understand the three targeted cognitive domains that the Cambridge assessment objectives actually demand. These are absolutely vital. Think of these as the three descending layers of our investigation. Layer number 1, knowledge and understanding. This is your raw physical evidence. Do you actually grasp the Arabic vocabulary, the grammar structures, and the explicit surface-level meaning of the text? If you don't have this, you don't even have a crime scene to investigate. Layer number 2, analysis. This is your ballistics report. How do the pieces you found in layer 1 actually connect? How is the author's argument structured across the paragraphs? What is the tone? And then we reach layer 3, the most important one, evaluation. This is the final psychological profile of the case. Are the author's claims actually valid? What are the broader real-world implications of what's being said in the text? Now, pay very close attention, because here is the absolute killer. We call it the fingerprint mismatch. These domains are tied directly to command words. If a question specifically asks you to evaluate, which is layer 3, and you simply provide knowledge and understanding, which is layer 1, that is a fingerprint mismatch. The examiner looks at your answer, sees that your approach doesn't match the command word logged in the system, and instantly throws out your case. Your Arabic grammar could be absolutely flawless, the handwriting could be beautiful, but if you're operating in the wrong cognitive domain, your case is dismissed. 0 marks.
Act 2. The peer interrogation debate.
Let's bring Alex and Sam over to the interrogation table. They are currently trying to stitch together an unassailable, top-band model response paragraph to present to the judge, and it is getting tense. They are totally clashing over how to interpret the case data. Alex is sitting there frantically highlighting every single piece of vocabulary, wanting to overload the text block with long, drawn-out textbook definitions. Alex wants to prove he knows what every single word means. Meanwhile, Sam is tapping his watch, totally impatient. Sam is fighting to just bypass all of that and build a direct analytical logic string right to the conclusion to secure the high-tier marking bands before their case clock runs out. Sam just wants to say, therefore the author is right, and call it a day. They are both totally missing the mark. Let's look at this direct intercept. This is a quote pulled straight from the Principal Examiner report. Candidates referencing cross-topic connections achieve significantly higher marks. Bam. That right there stops their argument in its tracks. I'm taking that quote and I'm pinning it right between them on the board. Overloading the text with textbook definitions like Alex wants to do, that isn't making connections. And jumping straight to the end of the argument like Sam wants to do, that skips the connections entirely. The entire theoretical architecture of Paper 2 rests on integration with other syllabus areas. You have to build a direct step-by-step analytical logic string. If the source text is about modern economic shifts, you cannot just translate it or summarize it. You must actively weave in the broader sociocultural implications that you've learned from your other Arabic AS and A-level modules. You have to show how one impacts the other. That cross-pollination of ideas is the secret weapon for unlocking those top marking bands. It proves you aren't just reading a paper, you're understanding a world.
And right as they try to rewrite their thesis lines, this brings us to a major, blaring red flag alert directly from the examiners. Candidates consistently, year after year, confuse key terminology. The rule is simple. You must always define terms before using them in extended responses. This is where we have to stop the agents, hold them back, and enforce the perimeter. If Sam writes a sentence that says, "The text shows serious structural issues in society," my immediate question as the lead detective is, hold on, what structural issues? Define the perimeter. You cannot just throw complex Arabic terminology into your essay, cross your fingers, and hope the examiner assumes you know what it means. They won't give you the benefit of the doubt. You have to define the term clearly in your opening clause, and then proceed to analyze it. The text highlights structural issues, specifically the disparity in urban versus rural resource allocation, which leads to, see the difference? It shows the examiner you have total command over the vocabulary, and you aren't just guessing at shadows in the dark.
Act 3, the mid-case bulletin upgrade.
Case file freeze. We're pausing the tape right here. Before we reveal this ultimate top-band paragraph structure to help you clear your upcoming Cambridge sessions, you need to make sure your intelligence feed is entirely secure. Take a second right now to subscribe to Ace the Exams at the handle @AceTheExams and make absolutely sure you turn on all notifications. You do not want to miss our weekly forensic exam updates, whether you are cracking cases at IGCSE, O-levels, or AS and A-levels. Keep your comms channel open, and let's get back to the evidence board.
All right, the tape is rolling again. Our agents just hit a massive roadblock mid-paragraph. They tried to write their answer, but their evidence links completely collapsed under cross-examination. They extracted the data, sure, but the bridge between the Arabic text and their final conclusion just crumbled. Why? Because of a lack of systematic processing. So I'm stepping in. We are implementing the method mark strategy. In Paper 2 Reading and Writing, you need to follow a highly standardized sequence to make your response bulletproof. Let's walk through the 6 steps. Step 1. Deconstruct the question. Before you even look at the text, pinpoint the exact command word and the context. Are you evaluating? Are you analyzing? Step 2. Extract data. Now you go to the crime scene. Pull the specific, highly relevant Arabic quotes from the stimulus materials. Not the whole paragraph, just the smoking gun. Step 3. Select your framework. Decide exactly how you are structuring this. Are you comparing 2 ideas? Contrasting them? Step 4. Execute notation. This is where you write out your logic clearly. Connect the quote to the framework so the examiner can clearly follow your mental footsteps. Step 5. Verify results. Take a breath. Check your drafted answer against the initial prompt in Step 1. Did you actually answer the specific question they asked? Step 6. Present terminology. This is the polish. Dress the final answer in precise, professional, high-level Arabic vocabulary. If you force yourself to follow this exact procedural framework every single time, your response becomes practically indestructible.
Act 4, the interactive viewer evidence room. I'm handing the files over to you.
Welcome to Challenge 1, the visual clue scan. When my team and I pore over years of examiner reports, one massive, glaring question constantly arises. Why do students find applying concepts to unfamiliar contexts so incredibly difficult? Imagine a completely unfamiliar Arabic case study text hits your desk right now. The clock is ticking. You have 60 seconds. What is the core trend? Here's the harsh truth. If you're just relying on rote memorization, if you're just that recruit who memorized vocabulary lists and a bunch of stock Arabic phrases, you are going to hit a brick wall. Memorization completely fails without evidence-based reasoning. The exam board knows you memorize things. They deliberately choose unfamiliar topics to test your real skills. You have to be able to scan an unfamiliar text and apply the underlying principles of structure, tone, and logic, regardless of whether the specific topic is about space exploration or ancient agriculture.
So how do we do that? The solution to that exact challenge is this: the Comparative Analysis Framework. When faced with completely unfamiliar contexts on exam day, you do not panic, you categorize. Critical analysis requires identifying similarities and differences. But listen, identifying them is only 2/3 of the puzzle. The real magic, the thing that actually pushes your grade into the A tier, happens in the third column of this framework: connectives. You absolutely must use sophisticated Arabic comparative connectives to link your observations together. You support each comparison with hard evidence pulled straight from the text, and you use those connectives to draw broader conclusions about their relative importance. This framework is your structural lifeline. When the exam throws a total curveball topic at you, you fall back on this structure: similarities, differences, connectives.
All right, let's move to challenge 2, identifying the counterfeit answer. Look at this response on the board. This is a flawed, medium-tier student response. At first glance, it looks pretty good. On the surface, the handwriting is neat, the Arabic grammar flows decently, it looks like a solid paragraph. But somewhere in here, the logic completely collapses into descriptive fluff. I want you to mentally scan these sentences. Where is the exact moment, the precise structural turning point, where the student stops actually analyzing the text and just starts summarizing what the author already said? Look right there, the third sentence. That sentence right there simply rephrases the prompt without adding a single drop of critical insight. It's an illusion of analysis. That is your counterfeit currency. The examiner spots it instantly, and it keeps candidates permanently stuck in a C-grade holding pattern instead of pushing up to an A.
To isolate those exact discrepancies and ensure your own answers aren't secretly counterfeit, we use the Evidence Evaluation Protocol. Evaluating the quality of evidence in Paper 2 requires 3 massive analytical checks. I want you running this protocol on every major point you make. Check 1. Identify limitations. What is the text not telling us? What data is missing from the author's argument? Check 2. Assess assumptions. What underlying biases or cultural viewpoints is the author bringing to this Arabic text? Are they assuming the reader agrees with a specific cultural norm? Check 3. Explore alternative interpretations. Could this exact same piece of data be viewed from a completely different cultural or economic lens? When you start subjecting your own essay answers to this rigorous 3-part protocol, you instantly elevate your writing from simple, standard comprehension to deep, critical problem solving. And that is exactly what Cambridge is looking for.
Act 5. Case closed and investigation recap. All right, our agents Alex and Sam have finally successfully compiled their final high-scoring text block. They correctly applied the formats, they nailed the Arabic terminology, and they secured a 100% case resolution score. But before we fully seal this case file, there is one final crucial piece of evidence we need to review. Digging deep into the principal examiner reports across multiple years, a very specific recurring number emerges: 3. There are 3 fatal repeating mistakes that act like hidden landmines in Paper 2. These are the specific errors that take a brilliant student, someone who knows their Arabic inside and out, and absolutely destroys their mark potential on exam day.
Let's expose them. Here are the top 3 mistakes, sourced directly from the examiner's mouths. Trap number 1, confusing cause and effect. This happens constantly. Students will read a highly complex paragraph and totally mix up the catalyst with the symptom. They will literally argue that the smoke caused the fire. You must trace the logic chronologically. Make sure your Arabic phrasing explicitly identifies what triggered the event and what was merely the result. Trap number 2, forgetting to check format and presentation. This one hurts to watch. You could write an absolute genius-level analysis, a brilliant piece of literature. But if the question specifically asked for a certain format, say a balanced argument or a specific structured response, and you just wrote a rambling, unformatted block of text, you lose the practical application marks instantly. The examiner's hands are tied. They can't give you the marks if the format is wrong. Trap number 3, answers not specific to the context given. This is the memorization trap we talked about earlier. A student memorizes a beautiful, flawless essay on the broad topic of technology, and then tries to forcibly jam it into a nuanced question about traditional agriculture's adaptation to modern tools. If your answer isn't laser-focused on the highly specific context of the stimulus material provided on that day, the examiner will show absolutely no mercy. You must arm yourselves against these 3 specific pitfalls.
So, to distill this entire massive investigation down into a tactical loadout that you can carry into the exam hall, I am giving you 3 universal rules to execute. Rule 1. The 3-step question scan for decoding. Never, ever write a single word until you have physically highlighted the command word, the core subject, and the specific context on the paper. Rule 2. The clock budget allocation for timing. Paper 2 requires ruthless, strict time management. Do not spend 80% of your time hunting down 20% of the marks. You must assign a strict minute value to every single question based purely on its mark tariff. When that time is up, you move on. Do not exceed the budget. Rule 3, the final evidence audit for review. You must intentionally save 3 minutes at the very end of the exam to act as your own internal affairs investigator. You are going to read your answers back, but you aren't looking for spelling mistakes. You are checking exclusively for logic gaps and missing term definitions.
And with that, our case resolution score is 100%. You now have the forensic tools, the analytical frameworks, and the precise investigative methodology to completely dismantle the Cambridge AS and A-Level Arabic 9680 Paper 2. But here is the ultimate question you must ask yourself right now before exam day arrives. Are you going to just be like Agent Alex, aimlessly gathering facts at the crime scene? Or are you finally ready to act like a lead detective and actually build the case? Trust the evidence, execute the frameworks, and good luck. Before you go, make sure you subscribe to Ace the Exams at @AceTheExams, click that notification bell for our weekly grade masterclasses, and right now drop a comment below sharing exactly which Cambridge subject and level, IGCSE, O, AS, or A-Level, you are preparing to conquer next. Case closed.